everyone! So today I'm going to be sharing my high school stats of how I got into NYU. So clearly this is the first time filming in my dorm room, so if the lighting's off or like things like that, just ignore it for this one time because I'm going to be playing around with it. But this is a super highly requested video. A lot of you guys who saw my what colleges I got accepted into were requesting my high school stats, which I wasn't sure if I was going to make a video on it, but I know that's all I watched when I was applying to college, so I feel like it's really helpful and like just something a lot of people want to know. I know binge watched those videos when applying to college, so that is my purpose of sharing that today, hopefully so you can maybe see like what someone like me did to get into NYU. I don't know. So to start off, I guess I'll just like say about getting in and getting accepted. I was deciding between ED2 and regular because I kind of was nervous, like what if I don't get in? I kind of want to do ED, and by the ED1 deadline I like still hadn't made up my mind. I was like no, I'm just gonna decide by the ED2, and then the night before, it's like both due on January 1st, the ED2 and regular. And I was like I didn't know, and I like was texting all my friends. I was like I don't know, and they're like if you're really that unsure you shouldn't be applying ED. And so I literally at like 11:50 the night before I pressed submit for regular and like closed my eyes and like couldn't handle it because I was like so stressed, like what if I make the wrong decision, what if I don't get in, blah blah blah. When it came out, I have video footage of that somewhere of me like figuring out I got in. I think I put it in my Philadelphia vlog, but if I can find it I'll include it next.
Which one is this for?
NYU. Yay! Yay! Oh yay! 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 She got in! Yay!
Welcome to NYU!
I got in! I can buy a sweater now! So yeah, basically I started crying and it was amazing and I'm blessed to be here. I've been here for about a month now. Super great. I can make a whole nother video on that, so I won't give away too much. And that's basically how I found out I got in, and I currently go to the School of Professional Studies and I'm studying as a hotel and tourism management major. Not sure what I'm concentrating in yet, and also might add a minor in dance. Not sure. All temporary. But yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my grades in the classes I took in high school. So for me personally, I struggled a lot freshman year, and my GPA every single year increased because I just started to work harder, started to figure out high school. Freshman year, I feel like it's okay to mess up because it's not like the end of the world as long as you show improvement. I feel like that was the biggest thing writing for me. So I will tell you every class I took and my GPA for every year. Also, I'm going to be looking at my laptop to the side because clearly can't remember everything. So freshman year, I took English 1, Spanish 2, Geometry Honors, Biology Honors, Ancient and Medieval History, Technology 9, Photography 1 and 2, and Human Development. Basically, it was 6 core classes, 1 elective, which was photography, and then Technology 9 and Human Development was each a semester, so that was like a freshman intro class. Basically, I did pretty well that year, except for I got a B- in Bio Honors, which I have my reasons for that. Ellis. But no, I'm not blaming it on Ellis. But no, that class was really difficult for me, so that's what brought my GPA down that year. So I had an unweighted of 3.67 and a weighted of 3.95. Then going into 10th grade, I took English 2 honors, Spanish 3, Algebra 2/Trigonometry honors, Chemistry, European History, and Photography 3 and 4. So that was 5 core classes and an elective, so basically the same as last year minus the freshman. You're required to take 1 year of art, so that's why I took photography the first year, but then I wanted to stick with it because also it looks kind of good to continue with something. And I was doing well in photography, which I'll talk about later in this video. But overall that year, I definitely improved. I only had a B+ was my lowest that year, which was already significant improvement from the last year, and my unweighted GPA was a 3.83 and my weighted GPA was a 4.17. Going into 11th grade, I took AP English Language and Composition, Spanish 4, Math Analysis and Calc Honors, AP Physics 1, United States History, and Advanced Photography. Again, the 5 classes and the elective. Sticking with the photography looks strong as long as you're keeping up your grade. And that year, the lowest I got was an A-. So still improving every year, especially for junior year, that looks really good. And I got an unweighted of a 3.89 and a weighted of a 4.3. 3.9. Still improving. And then senior year was my best year. I took World Lit Honors, Cultural Themes in Spanish Cinema, AP Calc BC, Financial Literacy, AP Environmental Science, and Humanities. So Financial Literacy and Humanities were each a semester class, and then I didn't take an elective because photography wasn't offered another year, and I wanted a free period so I could have more time for college apps and just like other fun things to do in senior year. And that year I got straight A's, no A minuses, just straight A's, which was really great because then my unweighted GPA was a 4.0 and my weighted GPA was a 4.6. So basically I wanted to go through every year because a lot of people just name off their GPA, but that's not all colleges look at. They look at your improvement and like what classes you took. So I felt like telling you what I took was helpful. So overall, out of all 4 years, my final numbers were my cumulative unweighted GPA was a 3.83 and my cumulative weighted GPA was a 4.25. I took only APs junior and senior year. I took 2 each year because I had a lot of extracurricular activities. I felt like taking more wasn't right for me. I really tried to base my classes off I tried to base my classes off like what I knew I could handle personally. I feel like that's best because then you work, but clearly every year my grades and GPA increased, which is what colleges look for. They look for that you're still trying, you're still caring, especially senior year. They want to make sure you're not slacking off. I feel like as long as you balance your APs, you'll be fine to like just do what's right for you. And also, especially if you're like a senior applying now, you can't change that, so just make sure you're still working hard. And you'll be good. But yeah, that was basically my GPA. Also to mention, the unweighted, I don't know if it's different for the people. The unweighted, the lighting just changed, sorry. Unweighted is out of a 4-point scale and weighted is out of a 5-point scale. So weighted is if you take APs, they weigh more. Yeah. Okay, so next I'll talk about like my AP classes specifically. So I always took an honors class at least every year, but for AP wise, and we didn't have IB, I think someone in our school did IB, but I really don't know what that is. I don't know. I think you had to do it like outside of school. But junior year I took AP English Language and Composition and Physics 1. So in regards to each of the classes, I got an A in each of the classes. Maybe an A minus in physics? Hold on. I don't know. So I worked really hard in each of the classes, and for regards to the score, I did pass. I got a 3 in each of them, which it is on the lower side. For physics, that's kind of average. Like a lot of people don't pass physics. English, that was a lower side, which I kind of did expect because I'm not that good at English. Sorry. But for physics, I was hoping to get higher because math's more my thing. But it's okay. I was just happy I passed. It was my first time taking APs, so like I really am not that mad about it, and it's passing, so yeah. But doesn't help with NYU because you need a 4 or 5 at NYU, so. Then, second year I decided to still only take 2 APs because it was senior year, and I took AP Calc BC and AP Environmental Science. For Environmental Science, I got an A in the class and I got a 4 on the test, which was great because that means I used it for NYU credit, and also most people don't even get a 3 on the AP Environmental Science one, so that was really exciting because I didn't know if that was going to happen. And then for Calc BC, I got a 5, and clearly my AP sub score was a 5 as well, which was great because I also passed out of math for NYU. And Calc was my favorite class. My teacher was really great in high school, so that was super exciting because it's helpful in college. But clearly when I was applying to NYU, they only looked at my AP scores of the 3s from junior year, so I still was able to get in with only having 3s on my AP score because they only saw the 2 of them. Hard work does pay off though. I really if you can, like, I think being able to take the junior year ones helped me with the senior ones because then I was more familiar with how AP works. That's why I think I was able to score higher. So I think if you just get the practice with it, it's really helpful because passing out of classes in college is like, I was like, who cares? Like, why do I want to pass out of classes? Trust me, it makes your life a lot easier. Once you're here, you'll understand. Every college is different. Some accept 3s, like I know UCs accept 3s, but it makes your life a lot better if you can pass out of classes. Just takes a lot of stress off. Okay, so now I'll talk about my ACT. I did not take the SAT. I only took the ACT because I did both practice and I was doing better on the ACT. It just probably seemed better for me. So that's the route I went on. So I took the test a total of 4 times, and 5th technically including the practice one, but like 4 official times. Every time my score went up exactly 1 point. So I started off with a 27 on my practice one, not official, and then in regards to official ones, I got a 28, 29, 30, and 31 total. So then I'll talk about like what I got specifically and then how I super scored it. Did they super score? I don't know. I submitted for NYU. I don't think they super scored the ACT, but I submitted my September and October one I took, which was the 30 and 31, because it technically does sub-score higher, but NYU doesn't sub-score. But theoretically, if the person's looking at it, they can see like, oh, she did really well here. So I was like, let me just submit both of them. I didn't do that for every college, but for NYU I did. So for the September one, the one I got a 30 on, I got English was a 33, math was a 30, reading was a 28, and science was a 29. And then my writing was an 8. So clearly my English on this one was a 33, which for me, I was working on English so much because that was my lowest by far. But everything else was kind of low. I think it's because I worked so hard on English. So that's why I wanted to submit this one, because the 33 was really good for me because English is not my strong suit, and it kind of made up for that AP credit. And then for my October one, I got a 31, and my English was a 29, my math was a 32, my reading was a 28, my science was a 34, and my writing was a 10. So in this one, my math and science were a lot higher, which was good because it made up for the last one. Reading for me is always going to be low. I can't read. Just can't do it. And I think combined, it ended up being, if you do super scored, I think it was a 32 super score. My goal was to get at least a 30 when going into this, when I started tutoring, and then so to get a 31 I was really happy with, and then to have a super score of 32 was even better. And yeah, I worked really hard. I was tutoring for a while, so that's how I ended up getting to this point. But those were my ACT scores. Basically it's a 31 for NYU technically on their scale, because I don't think they super score. So yeah, that was my ACT score. So next, I guess I'll talk about my extracurriculars. So I did list 10 activities on my Common App because I'm extra. So for activity number 1, I listed dance. And I put down that I was a part of the dance companies I was a part of, and just like whatever, the little wording. Activity number 2 was community service as a member of CORE at my school, which is Community Outreach for Everyone. Basically, I talked about how we raised $10,000 for CHLA, Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, and that was activity number 2. Activity number 3 was a science math one because I was a board member of Math Mentors, and basically that was like we tutored middle school students. Activity number 4 was foreign language. I was a co-founder of American Sign Language Club at my school with my best friend, Ashley Leone, who I miss so much. Activity 5 was like other, and that was the executive board member of Viewpoints Honor Committee. Activity 9 was also other. That was a member of Founders Club, which basically we like serve as the school's student liaisons and give tours to like college advisors who come in. Activity 6 was community service with not activity 6, activity 7 was community service with Operation Gratitude, which basically I made paracord bracelets for them every week, and so they could ship to the military and deploy to the deployed military. And they have a quick, easy, like it's like first aid, but like you can use it for different things, like to tie up bandages, not bandages, wounds and things like that. Activity 8 was another community service. That was at Pet Orphans of Southern California. I volunteered weekly or like every other week with the dogs and cats there at the shelter and took care of them and walked them and fed them. Activity 9 was dance. I was a member of Chloe and Maud Arnold's youth tap company based in Los Angeles called No Filter Soul Talk. We had rehearsals once a month, and we performed at like DC Tap Fest in Washington DC. We did a performance at the Ford Theater in Los Angeles, so that was that activity. And my activity number 10, I only listed this for NYU, I think. It was the NYU High School Academy. Also, you can change, really quick, blur. You can change your Common App for each school. I did that. You can change which activities go in which order based on like where you're applying, what major, what you think they like. I changed it for every single college. Like I changed my SAT. So like after you submit a college, you can go back in and change it and it won't affect the previous ones you submitted. Highly recommend that. So for NYU, I put my 10th activity was their high school academy I participated in, which was the summer before my senior year. And I took a week class in finance. I got an A in the class, so I mentioned that, and I mentioned the professor who I took it from, and like we went on field trips and stuff. But yeah, that was my 10 activities I listed for NYU. It was a lot, but I felt like it was really diverse. I made sure to like cover a lot of subjects. Each one was participating in different. Some were only like junior, senior year. Some were all 4 years. The main one was dance because I did that like 20 hours a week, if not more. So dance was a huge one, and that's what my activities were. So I don't know if the same NYU question was asked this year. For us, it was like basically why NYU. So for me, I filled up like almost the whole word count. I basically mentioned, like, I started off with like, because I was applying for hospitality, so I talked about very specific things like what I wanted to be participated in. I talked about my hospitality major, dance team, I mentioned specific study abroad programs, I mentioned specific clubs, like, and also I mentioned specific professors that the classes I was really interested in taking. So I was like, this professor's blah 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 class was, I want to learn about this and this, and like I love their teaching method. I also talked about like the class I took. I was like, I took this professor's class over the summer. I hope to take from them again, and like mention that, and then just mention the specific things with NYU. So like I talked about their B+ foundation because they do NYDM, which I'm participating in this year. That's like a fundraiser, and I talked about where I wanted to study abroad, which was Sydney, and like what class I wanted to take in Sydney. So the more specific you can be in your why NYU essay, the better. I really recommend that. Just really specific, and just not like, oh, I want to be in New York. Gossip Girl. Like, no, don't. But mention clubs, mention why NYU. So yeah, overall, I think that's pretty much it. I can't really look at my full application for NYU anymore for the specifics. But if you have any more questions, I'm hitting things. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for NYU. I worked really hard on this application because I knew it was like basically my #1. The supplement, we had a college advisor at my school, so we exchanged drafts. I went through, I think, 3 for my NYU essay, and then for my main Common App essay, I went through 9 drafts for my Common App essay that we started on in August or July, the summer before. I went through like 9 drafts, changed it so many times, and I was happy with how it turned out. I took the personal one, like the challenge one, like the one you overcome a challenge, and I talked about my own personal challenge in regards to that, and like not focused on the challenge. I focused on who I am now because of the challenge, which is huge because they want to know. They don't care who I was years ago. They want to know why I'm who I am now and why I'm coming to NYU and how this means so much to me. And yeah, wow, I'm rambling. So overall, like, my experience at NYU, it's been a month here and I'm really loving it so far, but I can make a whole nother video. If you have questions, honestly, just keep leaving them down in the comments. Also, if like there's something I didn't mention in this video about getting into NYU or applying, or any question in general about applying, leave it down below. I'll easily answer it. You can either DM me too, like a few people DM me and I answered them there, so it was more private, so not everyone in the entire YouTube community could see your question. Overall, that's just my process. Applying's rough. You'll get through it. Don't worry. It's only a few months, and whatever happens, happens. I truly believe it's meant to be. Like, if you're gonna get into college, it's for a reason, and that means maybe they don't think you'll be able to handle it. Maybe they think it's too easy for you. If they think that, there's probably a reason they think that, and that's okay. Like, you'll move on. There's people who don't even go to college that are so successful. So honestly, it's not worth stressing over, and I know, take that with a grain of salt, because Miss Anxiety here was freaking out until January. Like, could not breathe. But once I finished applying, I was like very calm because I was like, the stress was done. There was nothing I could do at that point. I recommend reaching out to your advisor. I was in contact with mine a lot for my specific area, the school, like the person who'd be reading my app. I gave her a tour at my school. I like made sure to keep emailing her, reaching out to her. I'm not like constantly, don't like berate the person, but like asking my questions, making sure she knew who I was, so when they see the application, they put a face to a name. That's super helpful. And they're real people. It's not computers, so it's like, it's a person reading your application. You have to keep that in mind, so everyone's subject to their own opinion. So I hope to be making more NYU videos. If there's like specific ones you want, like day in my life, what I eat at NYU. I'm gonna do a dorm tour eventually. You kind of can see the whole thing right now, but like I'll do one eventually. My bed's on this side. And yeah, I'll talk about like my experience or like whatever you guys want to see. Just let me know. Yeah, so I hope you liked my first video I made at NYU about applying to college, basically my stats. If there's any other school too that I got in that from the previous video of like where I got into that you want me to like talk about my application for that one too, it's probably about the same, but if you want that, let me know. I'll be more than glad to make that, and leave your questions below. Sorry if I just went on like a tangent, but please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more college videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!